Hello, good evening, and welcome to tonight's episode of Call of Cthulhu, Masks of Nyarlathotep. My name is Alex Xander Rubitsky, and I will be your keeper of arcane lore for the evening. You may just call me the Keeper. Tonight, as always, we are continuing our brand new campaign in the world of the mythos, a globe-trotting adventure spanning many conspiracies, and joining me tonight are my good friends here at Internet Remix. I am, of course, joined by the wonderful Split Guardian.
Something funny.
That's good, that's nice. Yeah.
We also have Adwis.
Hello, everyone.
We have Upgraded Moon, also known as Jordan. The man, the myth, the legend, the brother Dingleberry.
Some of y'all don't know how to act.
And last, but certainly not least, we are joined by Kristen Trzynski.
We did it. We killed her.
I beg your pardon?
Huh?
You want to try that one again? You want to try it again? Come on.
Hi, my name's Kristen.
Good enough. Keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling.
Sugar.
Excellent. Well, on that note, it's a good start, y'all. We're having a good start. We are going to continue where we left off last week with the, as much as I hate to say it, now canonically named Disaster Gang.
Split just gave the most proud smile.
You made it work. You made it work.
I'm still... That's why I killed Jackson, kids. No. So, yes, last time on Call of Cthulhu, the investigators were summoned to New York City by their friend Jackson Elias, a renowned writer and explorer, to talk about something involving the Carlisle expedition. And when they arrived at New York to meet with Jackson, they discovered him freshly murdered in his hotel room, the culprits getting away. And following that, with scant amount of clues to follow up on, retired after they were questioned by the police and are now beginning their next day immediately following the murder to begin digging up whatever information they can. And that is where we left off. So let's get right to it. So it is the morning of January 16th. Early morning, and given that it is a cold morning at that, light snow falling down through the city still, the sky overhead, a very dense, overcast gray, almost somber, reflecting the moods of all of you. you guys have just devised your strategy for the day of how you want to proceed, and have split up to begin pursuing a number of inquiries. Now, of course, Jackson's funeral is tomorrow afternoon, so you guys have the entire day to investigate. So we're gonna start first, I think, with the only duo here, which would be Mason and Sunil, who left together. Would you like to, just to remind both our listeners and myself, what it is Mason and Sunil are getting up to at the moment?
Mason was going to go to his apartment, but then I realized there's nothing to acquire at the apartment. So we're going to the library?
The library.
The library.
Oh god, is it now the library and the plaza?
Plaza and the
library.
I hate everything.
You
Chat.
chose to have this game with us.
I did. I really
You
did.
handpicked us. You handpicked us.
Mhm.
For it.
Handpicked us.
So you two are heading to a library, which it is New York City, so like there are
Not just a library. The library.
Okay, thank you, Jordan.
You have to say it.
Cool. So the New York Public Library is obviously a massive annex of information to be discovered. So is that where you two are heading?
Most likely.
Cool.
Because having lived in New York and it being the 1920s, I don't know whether the library to go to. So.
Exactly. All right. Well, then with ease, despite the weather and occasional snow-filled street, Mason and Sunil, you two head over and across to 5th Avenue and 42nd Street to make your way over the New York Public Library, which, coming, in the neighborhood of Gramercy, you can see out front the two, stone lions that flank the steps leading up to the pillared entrance of this sacred hall of knowledge, where you two will enter. What do you want to research here at the library?
I know that one thing that he wants to get into is seeing if they would have any archives of newspapers.
Are we going to look for the Carlisle expedition paper? Why am I British? Are we going to look for the Carlisle expedition papers?
What the fuck just happened?
Mason Allen was British for a second? I'm sorry.
He's an actor. It happens.
You're having a addicting accent there. Let me get back into Mason Allen. Hi, I'm Mason Allen. It's nice to meet you.
Good job.
Yes.
Okay, so as Sunil and Mason, you guys enter the library, you want to begin looking for information on the newspapers Yes.
For the Carlisle expedition.
Well, for the previous murders, we've been keeping up, generally speaking, with the Carlisle expedition.
Yes.
Now, if there's anything else that we could be looking into when it comes to that would be a secondary thought. But as for right now, we are interested in, or at least we should probably split up. But the main thought on my mind right now is getting some information on the previous murders.
Yeah. So they said that They said that how Jackson died, it was very similar, but not quite, or was it just like how they died before? I'm just trying to think about how it was worded so that we can ask questions.
I, the player, have a peanut memory.
You're good.
I'm
You're
going
good.
to get notes.
Yes,
Any
there are
scrambles to look at the OneNote right now?
Yeah, there are very comprehensive notes. It's great. And I will say, yes, so what I have written in my notes that I took at the end of last session, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, which was under you two looking into the other murders and the symbol. So I think Sunil said you wanted to research that symbol as well. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Cool. All right. So, how do you want to approach this? Do you two want to work together or like split up and do your own thing and like spread out and because here's what I will say just for mechanically. For the newspapers, that won't require a check. That will just require time looking around and stuff. To successfully pull information on that symbol is a library use check, which I know that Sunil is quite good at.
That begs the question: if mechanically, if we look together, would we have to use Masons?
No. If you two work together, you don't need to have one or the other roll. It's just that looking for the information that you can dig up about that symbol will take a full day on a successful library use check to like pull information. So if you want to be working on that and have Mason go dig up newspapers elsewhere, then like you can do that just fine.
Yeah. That is the thing that makes sense to do.
Yes.
Okay, so here I'll say this first before you decide to commit to any rolls. So while the New York Public Library does not have archives on various newspapers, any newspaper firm in the city is going to have a morgue where you can browse their records. So if you want to send, if Mason wants to go run to a newspaper and like dig through their records for past articles about this, he can totally do that. And no, there's no check involved in that. That just letting you know that you'll have to split up from there.
Okay. I'm gonna check out a place for newspapers.
Yes.
You stay here. You check out the symbol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Don't get lost. Don't disappear on me now.
I won't
If anybody's following you,
Well,
stop
same
them
to
from
me.
following you.
Same to you, Mason.
So
Yes, and Mason gives him a little hug, and then he goes.
Okay, cool.
It's gonna happen.
Excellent. Mason, you peel off, go do that. So, Sunil, then, since it is up to you to begin spending a lot of time looking into this, why don't you give us a library use check?
Watch this be like a thing, and then fucking not work out.
Let's find out.
3, 2, 1.
Easy.
Very nice.
Easy.
Very nice.
This game's so easy.
Very good.
So
Okay.
easy.
So,
So
Sunil, it will take you a full day of really poring over the books, following texts and tomes and leads across the various archives at the New York Public Library, but you will successfully dig up some information. So what you dig up through a full day of this is that the mark on Jackson's forehead seems to be a rune belonging to a cult that is thought to have descended from a sect that was driven out of dynastic Egypt. And because you succeed at your library use check, you get a name attached to this order. The Cult of the Bloody Tongue. It is believed to have originated in Kenya, but its ongoing existence is currently unclear. And we're going to get back to Mason in a minute. I want to cut down to some others involved here. Let's jump over to James's investigations this morning.
Fuck. Okay. Just a reminder, general reminder. I'm basically just looking at that matchbox, right? Seeing what I can find out about it.
Basically.
Okay. So, I think the first thing I'm gonna do is while I'm at the hotel, because I figure we all just split up. I'm gonna go up to the teller, and I'm gonna, I'm gonna ask basically if there's any kind of Chinese themed, hotels, bars, restaurants, anything around town. Give out something like that.
Yeah, you talk to the concierge. I think the concierge would tell you, well, sir, there's, of course, depends on what sort of Chinese affair it is you're looking for. There is first, if you're looking for something with a bit more of a theme, I'm sure there's a few hotels in the region. I mean, your best bet would probably be Chinatown, for an actual center of such things. Is that
right. And can I get some quick directions? Sorry, I haven't been in New York very often.
Sure. How can I help you?
I just need straight directions to Chinatown.
To Chinatown, of course. That gives you the direction to Chinatown, and easily. Do you bring up the bar itself specifically?
Yes.
Okay, the concierge says, all right, well, I've never heard of a Lantern Street before, but they give you the direction to Chinatown.
Sick. And I guess I'm on an adventure, guys.
Woo!
Yay!
Woo!
James will peel off to we'll peel off to Chinatown. Here's what I will say, just to make things like nice and summarized.
Yeah.
Can James make a luck check for me?
Uh-oh. Yeah, just uno momento, por favor.
Sure thing.
Didn't Mason confirm last time that there was no Lantern Street in New York?
Yes, but this is...
Or did we kind of loosely do that?
Yeah.
You've never heard of it, but he's looking into it heavily.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, roll 20 is taking a minute for me.
No worries.
There it is. Bada bing. Ah!
Oof. Okay. So for you, James, you here. So what do you want? The bad news or the good news first?
Give me the bad news.
Okay. So the bad news is, of all the people in Chinatown you talk to, nobody's able to give you any concrete information about where this Stumbling Tiger bar might be. The good news is you can confirm that it is not in New York City.
Fuck. All right. Well, at least I can confirm that. I guess I'll. Can I ask around while I'm there to see if anybody would know of any kind of gang?
Any kind of gang.
Yeah, about any kind of gang that would use machetes specifically.
Ooh. I'll say that in Chinatown, you would get no information regarding that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing comes back to you. So you spend your day tracking through Chinatown, getting information, finding out that the Stumbling Tiger Bar does not seem to be in New York. There is no Lantern Street. But the locals down here, don't seem to matching the machetes, like the description of what you said. Uptown, no one down here seems to know any kind of connections. So that is what you go through. Let's jump over to Sybil, shall we? Sybil, you are heading to New York University. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
All right. To pursue information regarding the Professor Cowell's lecture, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Are you going to the place mentioned on the flyer, or just NYU in general?
I think the place mentioned on the flyer.
Okay, so you go to Schuyler Hall, which is connected to NYU for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
I will have missed the thing for sure, but someone can at least give me an idea of where to head from there.
Absolutely. What kind of information are you looking to bring up first when you get there? Who are you looking to talk to? What are you trying to? What questions are out of the gate? I should ask.
Oh, I want to meet this Professor Anthony Cowell's person, and I want to pick his brain.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. So here's what I will say from just you getting there, you asking around. So the lecture on the cult of darkness in Polynesia and the Southwest Pacific was a few days ago. It was actually on the 14th, back on Thursday. And Professor Anthony Cowell's, is not still in town. He is actually he currently resides up in Arkham, Massachusetts. He's a professor of anthropology from the University of Sydney in Australia, currently having a fellowship with Miskatonic.
I've been there.
Yes. But if you are really pressing on wanting to get in touch with Professor Anthony Cowell's, you can certainly, through the university, get the means of contacting him through Miskatonic, or call a house number specifically. They have some different contact infos if you want to get in touch with the professor.
Okay, I would like that. Also, are there any records or anything about this, cult of darkness thing that happened? They don't have any notes or anything.
From what you're able to dig up while you're here, there are no notes from the lecture that you're able to dig up. So this is something you're probably going to have to contact Professor Cowell's directly for more information.
Okay, that's fine. It's not like I haven't done that before. This wouldn't be the first time I harassed someone at Miskatonic.
Exactly. So yeah, do you want to do that now, or do you want to hold off? Now, here's a great question I should actually ask you first. Is Sybil going to, this is, because this thought occurred to me. Is she going to, just start calling, maybe sending some, or is Sybil brazen enough to just, on a whim, take the 7-hour train journey to Arkham?
I mean, would I make? I'd make Jackson's funeral.
I mean, yeah, it is early morning. If you decided to hop on a train to Arkham, you could, probably get back to New York City, really late tonight.
Yeah, fuck it, let's go!
The ultimate split the party is have one of your members go to a different town in a different state. I love it. Cool. I love this. I love that Sybil, on a whim, is going to just book a ticket for Arkham. Cool. So then we'll cycle back to you as Sybil. You'll head up north into Massachusetts. Truly incredible. Awesome. All right, we're gonna jump now to Kit Sullivan. So Kit, would you mind telling me where it is you are headed?
I am going to Hell's Kitchen. Okay.
You make your way to Hell's Kitchen, finding your way in particular outside of not a row house, but more it's one of those apartment buildings on the nicer side. Hell's Kitchen having a very predominant Irish population as you kind of maneuver your way around here. It's one of those multi-floored apartment buildings, but it's kind of a nicer, nothing too fancy, of course, but it is respectable.
Yeah.
When you walk inside the building, make your way upstairs, anything special you do before you get to the door?
I take a deep breath. I sort of futz with my hair a little bit. I pull out my key ring because I still have a key. Of course I would. And I knock first, though.
It's actually right as you lift your hand to knock that the door opens before you actually get to knock, and kind of half steps out into the hallway, but then stops, halted by you standing there. You see your father, Kit. You see your father, Ryan Sullivan, in his police uniform. For those who would like to know, Ryan Sullivan is a bit taller than Kit, standing at about 5'10", bulkier, got more muscle on him, stockier build, but a very similar nose and set of eyes, and the addition of a very red, kind of closely trimmed beard with streaks of graying white that run through it, who kind of comes up short and halts, seeing that someone's blocking his way out as he was just stepping outside. Blanches for a moment, but then his eyes kind of narrow and settle on registering who's in front of him, and your father says, Christopher.
Hi, Dad.
I was not aware that you'd be in town. Is Aaron with you?
No, she's coming in. Her train's snowed in. She was meeting. I thought she would have mentioned that.
Your father kind of nods a little bit to himself and goes, I know, it's you just got in town then, just the other day, or
yeah, just
you missed yeah, you missed a hell of a storm. Things are still a little buried around here. I take it if Aaron was getting here by train, then it's gonna be a little while before they dig her out. Sorry, you just caught me on my way out early for a bit of a walk. Would you like to come in? Kind of points over his shoulder at the apartment behind him.
Kid sort of looks passed, and we could walk, or we could go inside. It's a little serious.
Sure. I'm early enough out, so it's no hassle for me to take a moment to have a sit down inside. Come on in. I had a kettle on about 20 minutes ago, so it's probably cold by now, but you're welcome to treat yourself to a spot if you want.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, come on in. Yeah, your father kind of like gestures you inside, closes the door behind you. And as you get situated, he says, "So, what brings you to New York now? You're in Germany, wasn't it?"
Yes.
Germany. Aye, all right. And how are the krauts out there?
They're most of them are regular folk, just like any one of us.
I never said anything otherwise, as long as they're not English. Kind of like says this while like grabbing like the kettle he had on the stove with like a little cloth and just, pour some like kind of tepid mugs of tea.
Just a little.
Yeah. Yeah. Get some tepid mugs of tea out and goes, "So," he sits down at the table with you. "You said there was something serious to talk about. Is everything all right at home?"
Yeah, things are fine at home. I was just coming through New York, meeting up with Aaron. We were gonna travel back up and see Mom, and it's been a while since. It's a beat. Kid sort of pauses and sort of like drums his fingertips on the table. It's I was meeting with a number of friends of mine, and one of them was murdered yesterday.
Was this the doesn't happen to be the one over in Chelsea, was it?
Yeah.
Word,
I was the one that found
it. Word travels fast between Chelsea and Hell's Kitchen sometimes. That's terrible. My condolences, Christopher.
Yeah. I'm this friend of mine, Jackson Elias. He was a fairly close friend. We traveled a bit, so I'm looking into it. Do you think it would be possible to get access to Kid sort of like tilts his head a little bit. Like, we saw a car driving away. We saw the license plates. Would it be possible to look at the registry? Or
he kind of like leans back in his chair, and it the wooden chair kind of like creaks and groans from age. He like leans back and he kind of like ponders what you're saying. He goes, "Well, things are a little trickier than that. This was the murder in Chelsea. Was that the 7th precinct or 7A? Who'd you talk to? Who did any detective speak to you?
Poole, Detective Poole.
Lieutenant Poole. Okay, I'm somewhat familiar with him myself. Well, the thing is, Poole's precinct is not my precinct. Information would not be. When it comes to a registry, I mean, I could run if you give me the name of the plate, I could potentially run it for you and see what I dig up.
That would be. Thank you.
Did you tell this? Did you tell this to Detective Poole?
I did, but
well, it's probably worth checking in with him too.
I don't know how much he'd tell me is the thing.
Well, from what I understand, Poole's a straightforward, bit of a hard-nosed veteran of the force, but everything I hear is good and positive. So, yeah. I'll look. What was that?
He recognized me. Well, as your son, I mean.
I hope that was a positive experience. That was it.
It was.
Well, that's good then. It's my son deserves respect among the officers. Well, I'll look into it, see what I can do regarding that plate. Feel free to check on with Pool, though. Probably knows more than I do. It's, just what's the number, just so I can look into it potentially?
Yeah, NYL7. Z. So, no, 7. Sorry, my notes are kind of smudged.
You're good, you're good. Sure, I can do that for you. Is there anything else, Christopher, that you need to ask of me? Anything else on your mind?
Kit looks supremely uncomfortable. Like this place, this is the apartment where he grew up. You know, he sat at this table so many times, but it's just it feels and it kind of looks like he doesn't fit there, if that makes sense.
It's just like almost palpable, just kind of like silence between the two of you.
Well, you said you were going out. I could walk with you for a bit if you don't mind.
Sure, you're welcome to walk alongside. I'm just hoping to stretch my legs before I head in for the morning. You still have the key to my place, eh?
Yeah,
You're of course welcome to treat yourself to anything inside if you'd like. I will be out most of the day. Is that all right with you, Christopher?
Yeah, of course. I probably won't be staying. A friend of mine was kind enough to put me up at the plaza, but
the plaza. You're keeping mighty rich friends these days, then.
Yeah. The thing about having friends like them is they're not exactly the type of people you can say no to.
All right then. Well, all right. Welcome to tag along then, if you want. He kind of like gets up and like puts on his like uniform coat again. Does his gloves. Just kind of like awkwardly gestures at the front door. Kind of hastily like puts things away. And he says, "I'm my condolences about your friend, Christopher. That's right. Well then, after you, I'll be right behind."
Yeah. Kit gives like a little half smile, but heads out. Yeah.
And two of you kind of like duck out and go for a kind of quiet, tense walk, but other than that, it's rather uneventful. Unless there's anything else Kit wants to bring up.
Nothing
cool.
Relevant to the investigation.
Cool. So, let's jump back over to Mason now really quickly to summarize what it is you learned before we cut to our investigator who decided to skip town.
On my way there, I would just like to ask, because I always ask, am I being followed?
Make a spot hidden check.
Scroll.
Oh wow. Okay, cool. Mason
Fucking
being
pog.
hyper paranoid. You in the throngs of crowds on the sidewalks and city streets of New York, being surrounded by people, many of whom are like bundled up and like in layers, making it hard to like see their faces, read their intentions. Your eyes are like a hawk piercing through all of the people in your surroundings. Anyone who gives you even more than a sidelong glance, you lock onto until you're sure that they're not following you. And people who kind of like are behind you for more than like a block or two, you occasionally like take some like side streets, but they never end up following you. They are the people. You seem like you're in the clear, but you're hyper aware of your surroundings. You're pretty sure that no one is following you.
Okay. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to make sure I'm
Cool.
not being followed on my way over.
So here's what I'll say, just to summarize, hours, however long spent digging through newspaper morgues to dig up information over the last 2 years. Yes, over the last 2 years, there have been a series of murders that have been documented as, there's a kind of through line of this symbol on their forehead. It's very hard. I mean, like, you get some names, you get some details. It's kind of baffling because a lot of the victims, there were like no real connections between them. They were white and black, poor, middle class, wealthy, from many different parts across the city. But they all had that strange symbol that Jackson had carved into their foreheads. Around the third murder is when connections were being drawn, but the police were, at a loss as to really figure out what was happening. The only real, like, ties between the victims was that the victims had all been to, like, Harlem. Hardly noteworthy because Harlem has a bustling nightlife after dark. It's a very popular region. But between the papers, the fact that the first bodies were found in different police precincts kind of made things a little bit more scattered. And then I believe this past October, back in 1924, a man who was found at the scene of the 8th murder was arrested and sentenced to Sing Sing, a man by the name of Hilton Adams. He was arrested for the murders and is currently awaiting execution by electric chair at Sing Sing.
Okay, did you say that the victims were the ones that had the shit carved on their foreheads, or did you say the people doing it had the shit carved on their
victims.
foreheads?
The only real connections between the victims were that they had that symbol carved into their foreheads, and they had recently been to Harlem. That was the only thing connecting any of them.
Jackson had to have been in Harlem at some point. Okay, and what was the fella's name again? That's
Hilton Adams.
Hilton Adams.
Yeah, local Harlem man. And it was when Hilton was arrested, the case was considered closed.
Okay. How much time do I have left today?
Why? What do you want to accomplish?
We don't have our hands on the Carlisle Expedition newspaper pamphlets, do we?
No, that you do. Those are all easily accessible. It was widely reported.
Okay. I just kind of want to get some to bring with us.
Sure. I mean, yeah, that's easy. That's easy to dig up the Carlisle articles. Yeah. All the ones that are currently I've given to you guys are the ones that you can get access.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got some stuff with the Carlisle Expedition. I've got some stuff with the cultists. Within all these articles, was there ever anyone that escaped?
A victim? No.
No.
No victims.
All victims have been caught.
Oh, you mean all the victims are dead? No culprits were ever found except for Hilton Adams.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, there's no reports in the papers of a victim who escaped and had something to tell. It's pretty cut and dry from what the papers are saying.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I got what I need here. I'm just gonna walk back.
Hell yeah.
And again, I'll ask, am I being followed on the way back to the library?
And the answer to that is, all right, let's go back to Sybil. So, a 7-hour train ride out of Grand Central later, riding up north. Luckily, the line you're currently on is actually one of the few that is has the snow largely dug out. It is not too big of a hassle. Quite literally, if you were to look at a rail map of Massachusetts, you're running on a line that is like so close to the Boston line, which Aaron would be currently on, but you are crucially at a part that would have been dug out sooner because it follows a wider angle of like civilized parts. I looked up rail maps. I know what I'm doing. No, but the countryside passing you by, making your way up to the town of Arkham, Massachusetts. You've been here before, Sybil. You've been to Arkham a few times. An old town. It's got plenty of ghosts, literally and figuratively. And yeah, you easily show up. This is, of course, along the Miskatonic River, where the famous Ivy League school, Miskatonic University, is found. And yeah, a city that very much reeks of history and local pride. But you do, even though it is a bit of a popular area, there are still the locals who give you like a scant kind of glare just from being a very decadently dressed outsider. But yeah, so what do you want to do here? Do you want to go through the university channels, or you just want to like directly ask for like, where does he live?
Well, how late in the day is it?
If you left in the morning, it's probably going on around like maybe like 5 or 6 later, like getting into the evening. So it's already dark out by now.
Let's see if I can corner this man at the university.
Sure. I'm going to summarize this for you just so you get the exact impression. Of the people you ask, and it's Sybil we're talking about, so she asks young, attractive men.
Mm-hmm.
They can provide you exact directions to Professor Cowles' house, which you can immediately latch onto as, oh, Professor Cowles must have a daughter.
Interesting. All right.
Yes. So you're easily able to get directions to his bungalow on Pickman between West and Garrison. And as well as his office on the Liberal Arts Building, but it's a little late for that. Yeah, you will just straight up show at Professor Cowles' house, which is like a nice little home on kind of a little bit removed from the university, so not terribly far. You can see the lights are coming on from the inside.
All right.
I'm just going to assume that you walk up to the front door and just knock.
Of course.
Absolutely. The door opens after a minute of knocking. You see standing there is a very pretty, graceful young woman, probably no older than like 20. Immediately you clock into as, this is why the boys know where Professor Cowles lives. She has red hair that she wears a little longer than the current trends dictate, which you can appreciate. She's kind of like has like a despite the weather outside, she kind of favors a lighter, shorter dresses that are currently in fashion. And she just kind of like opens the door, sees you, gives like a polite smile and says, hi.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yes, hello. I am Sybil Cordova, and I'm currently looking for Professor Anthony Cowles.
You want to speak to my dad?
I do, yes, but, I wouldn't mind speaking to you as well, really. Both would be fine.
She kind of gives a little light smirk. She says, sure, let me ask about him. You, Cowles. Kind of like holds out her hand to you. Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
She kind of like gives like a hastily smile and she goes, well, you want to come in? It's dreadfully cold out. Yeah,
I would love to.
Yeah, and she kind of like just over and goes, Dad! And it's like, you have a visitor! She says, just wait here.
No worries.
She kind of like doesn't leave the room, but she kind of like steps out, like folds her arms beneath her chest and just kind of like stands there in the back corner. And a moment later, you see another gentleman enter the room, who is an immediate sight. I realize now I was talking without having Yua's image up, so just for the chat real quick, I'll throw up what Yua looks like. Yes. There's Yua Cowles herself. I'll post this in the Discord later. Yeah, so that's Yua Cowles. But the man that you're here to see enters the room, and you see this gentleman entering inside. He is a very heavy set, ruddy-faced white man with a big, bushy red beard. And he enters and goes, "Hello there." And kind of like, without, any introduction, like steps over you with a polite but genuinely warm like grin, and like shakes and goes to shake your hand. He kind of like looks at you and says, you, would you mind getting us a cup of tea from the kitchen, please?" And she kind of runs off into it with a little bit of a nod. And he goes, "Well, don't be a stranger. Come on in. Can I interest you in anything in particular to eat? We just finished up dinner."
You know what? Actually, dinner would be lovely if
you're
offering. I did just take a 7-hour train ride here, and frankly, I am famished.
Absolutely. Get on the plate here for our visitor. So, you said you came here from 7-hour trip. That's quite a way to go. What? You came to Arkham to see me. I feel very privileged. Please, come on in. Have yourself a seat.
Thank you very much. I'm told you're quite the learned man, and, well, I thought you might be able to answer a few questions, so...
Well, I'd be happy to possibly answer a few questions. Depends on the questions you're looking to ask about. I consider myself pretty knowledgeable on a various array of subjects.
Well, I suppose, Sybil reaches into her pocket. I guess, it might be a little odd for me to ask for this, seeing how you just apparently gave a talk on this, but, I'm curious about this cult of darkness, and she sets it on the table and just sort of slides it across to him.
He like looks at the ham and goes, "Oh, right, that's the uni printed those for the lecture I gave a few days back at Skylar Hall." Well, yeah,
I am sad to say that I missed it, but a friend of mine caught it, and I thought, well, really, I'm curious. He told me about it, and I just wanted to know what it was like. So here I am.
Let me double check something very quickly, Sybil, about the professor's home here. But let me look this up for you. But like Professor Cowles give a very warm, friendly grin. He goes, interested in that sort of subject. So, well, a woman after my own heart. It's around the time that you kind of like brings out like an extra plate of food, cup of tea for you, and she kind of like steps out of the room. She goes, "Oh, it's my pleasure." She kind of like she goes to step outside, but she seems to like kind of like keep an eye on you, Sybil, just a little bit, just like curiously before she steps out of the room. Where did I go? There it is. And she says, "If I might inquire, what exactly is your interest in just specifically anything that captivates your interest, or more of a passing fancy?"
I'm definitely I suppose a seeker of the occult, as it were. I actually often take trips here to Miskatonic just to, study about whatever catches my interest. I'm a bit of a ghost hunter, if you will.
Ah, a ghost hunter. I'm definitely someone who, for better or worse, as some might put it, kind of like side-eyeing where you were walked off to, I consider myself open to many different possibilities out there. I'm a learned man, of course, and even a scholar like me understands that not everything is understood. That said, so the lecture, of course. Well, tell you what, you caught me in a rather good mood.
I'm glad. I am also in a much better mood after this 7-hour trip that I did. It was
thank
really
you.
far. I'm glad I took it.
Where'd you come from? Yeah.
New York.
Right. That explains why you have the handbill, of course. Silly me. Well, tell you what. I think I can dig up my notes around here somewhere to summarize it. But do you know how an Ediphone works?
No.
Well, quite frankly, neither do I, but we have one here at the house. The uni tried to record my lecture on one of their fancy new Ediphones, and it didn't really work that well. It kind of, it was a little boggled up, if you ask me truly. It's,
this new technology, you can't trust all of it.
You really can't. But, I think it caught the crucial bits. They gave it to me more as a novelty, because it was rather, messed up, but, I could play that if you want to listen to it, and I can happily summarize from my notes if there's any missing pieces.
Oh, I would absolutely adore that.
Sure thing, sure thing. Let me dig up the wax cylinder around here somewhere, and I'll get that damned ediphone set up. Cool. So, hey guys, this is an actual audio clue. For my players, I would recommend you turn up your Roll20s, so you can properly hear this. And I'm going to just let Professor Cowell's lecture play. It's a few minutes, but it's not the actual 2-hour lecture. That said, I will say, for what you're about to hear is not my voice, but I think I did a damn well of imitating him, Professor Cowell's voice. This is provided courtesy of the wonderful H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society. They made some wonderful gamer props. So yeah, go ahead and turn up your volume. I'll play Professor Cowell's lecture.
From the University of Sydney in Australia.
Sorry, Professor, we missed part of that. Could you start again?
Right. Hello, or g'day as we say in my country. I'm Professor Anthony Cowles, guest lecturer from the University of Sydney in Australia. I hope you folks will bear with me tonight. Folks at the uni have asked us to use the ediphone to record tonight's lecture. What next, eh? Tonight I'd like to, I'll be discussing the cult of darkness in Polynesia and the Southwest Pacific. So, to begin, I'd like to start with the Marshall Islands. Could you advance to the next slide, please? Thank you very much. So, here we... Problem with the recorder. It'll just have to try to keep up. So, then, another of the cults in this region is an Aboriginal belief in a god known to them as the Father of all bats. In this primitive form of worship, the believers are thought to have made human sacrifices to their god, and in doing so they became worthy to receive a visitation by the Father of all bats, and once this god was enticed to appear, he would conquer all men. The sacrificial victims were run through a gauntlet of worshippers who struck them repeatedly with a bat. Sorry, I don't mean that kind of bat. I mean a cudgel or a club. And this club was embedded with the sharp teeth of bats. The teeth were coated with a poison, somehow derived from fermented bat droppings. Apparently, victims went mad before they died. It's said leaders of the cult could take the form of bat-winged snakes, and this enabled them to steal sacrifices from across the land. Now, my evidence suggests this cult's gone extinct or dormant at any rate, and these rites haven't been practiced for hundreds of years. However, if we look to the southeast, the song cycle mentions a place where enormous beings gathered somewhere in this region of Western Australia. The songs say that these gods were not at all like men, and built great sleeping walls and dug caves, but living winds blew down the gods and overthrew them, destroying their sleeping places. When this happened, the way was open for the Father of all bats, who came overexposed. But in this slide, these men are standing near what could be interpreted as a carved stone of megalithic proportions. If you look here and here, you can see markings that could be some kind of decoration. Unfortunately, Mr. McWhirr's party, who found these megaliths, were assaulted shortly after the discovery. Interestingly, the report given by Mr. McWhirr suggested the death of one of his men came from hundreds of small punctures, thus bringing to mind the abandoned practices of the Sandbat cult. Authorities made this from this region here, near the Arafura Sea in northern Australia. The legend tells of the Father of all bats engaged in a battle of wits with Rainbow Snake, the Aboriginal deification of water and the creator of life. Now, Rainbow Snake is no dummy, and he traps Sandbat and his clan in the depths of a watery place from which Sandbat can only complain but remains unable to trouble the people. Thank you. Now, before I take your questions, I just want to make sure that we got all that on the recording. Is it all right, Daniel?
Yes, Professor, Oh, wait. Let me check the...
Professor Cowles then just kind of like, pops the wax cylinder out of the Edifone recording, and he kind of just like regards it for a moment before he says, truth be told, I don't really have much of a use for this thing. Would you like to keep it?
Absolutely. This is fascinating.
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem.
It's a shame that it's missing so many parts of the lecture, though.
Well, it didn't lose some various chunks, but it caught some pretty relevant information. Really, in addition to that, I think while he was letting you listen to the Edifone, he actually grabbed a few like notes and like boxes out. He puts forward like some various like slides and gets like a dusty like slide like light box out to like begin showing you the individual slides from the lecture. Which he shows you these photographic plates, these 4 overexposed glass slides, each showing a few sweating men standing beside enormous blocks of stone, pitted and eroded, but clearly dressed and formed for architectural purposes. Some of them have like dim carvings on them, and there are billows of sand everywhere. He says that these are the plates taken from the McWorks expedition, and they're not necessarily the best condition, but as you can see there, they've already got pretty good symbology of some sort of construction existing out there in the greater deserts of Australia. They were made by a man by the name of Arthur McWhirr. I got them through a fellow I know named Robert Mackenzie. He's a mining engineer out there and the executor of McWhirr's estate. I also got McWhirr's diary, but it's back home in Sydney. But really that covers, he kind of like flips through the notes, that's really most of what the gist is, and then there's a lot of additional stuff in there. Is there anything I can extrapolate on for you, or?
Oh, there's so much. Sorry, I'm just,
Oh, no worries at all. Yeah, no worries at all. Well, like I said, you're welcome. Here, he kind of like grabs like a scrap paper and writes some things down. Here are the various addresses and numbers of mine if you want to either telegraph me, ring up me at the Liberal Arts Building. Tell you what, you can keep the wax cylinder, and if you have any questions, you're always welcome to ring and ask. I can't guarantee I can get back to you immediately. I'm still pretty much engaged in the middle of my fellowship here at Miskatonic. But,
this is far more than I would expect, and most of these were in Australia, right?
That's correct,
Okay. But the actual cult's Africa?
No, Australian.
Oh, sorry. I am so sorry. There's a lot of information, and just
Of course. No, it's a lot of what's here is taken from Aboriginal myths and folklore, and some past tales of the cults in the region. Of course, my notes are rather skippy on the topic, but they've either gone dormant or entirely extinct given recent developments.
Interesting.
He kind of like nods. Very starts like wrap things up. Kind of like put things away for you.
Thank you so much. This is.
Oh, you're welcome.
Really. I mean, I don't know what I expected when I hopped on this train, but this'll do. I'll take it.
Well, I have to say, I'm glad that at least someone's interested. The turnout at Skylar Hall was pretty nice. I won't lie to you, but part of the reason I'm here in Miskatonic is I'm trying to get funding for an expedition out to McWhirr's site. It's not going well, so the fact that any little old lady out there is interested just warms my heart.
I see. What were the plans for this expedition? I'm actually curious.
Well, I can't rightly say, but my daughter and I are here in Miskatonic for another 7 months before we head back to Sydney. If I can't secure funding here, I'm going to start looking elsewhere, or if worse comes to it, give up the ambition of mounting an expedition to the McWhirr site entirely.
I see. Well, keep at it. We'll keep in touch. I mean, I can't say I can fix all of your problems, but I may be looking into heading that direction at some point. We'll see how it goes.
Well, he kind of like balks a moment, but kind of like nods with a smile and says, well, certainly I'd like to hear back from you if anything ever comes up. And if you ever find yourself in Australia, miss, please, if you're there before me and my daughter head back, welcome to ring me up. I can get you in contact with a friend of mine, David Dodge, who's looking after my home, and Robert Mackenzie over in Port Hedland if you need a place to stay out there. Oh,
that would be lovely. Well, I think this seems like start of a good friendship.
Well, I'd certainly hope so. He like clasps your hand in his and like enthusiastically shakes it. Is there anything else you wanted to hear about?
No, I think this will be it for now. I unfortunately I have a funeral to go to tomorrow, so I do actually should be going.
Well, I'm terribly sorry. My condolences to you.
It is she visibly, like, her mood visibly drops for a second, and then she goes, but this is the best I can do right now, so
well,
thank you.
No, thank you, Miss Cordova. It was an absolute pleasure getting to meet you. Don't be a stranger. Ewa, can you get a coat? And Ewa kind of like runs off and like grabs your coat, Sybil.
Thank you.
Yeah. And he's like, and he says, please call me Anthony.
Will do, Anthony. Thank you. And you may call me Sybil. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Likewise. And yeah, you can get settled together. You go. As you're kind of like on your way out, Ewa kind of like turns to you, just kind of like with a polite smile and says, you should consider yourself lucky. He can talk you out for hours if you ask him the wrong questions.
That's not a problem. If I didn't have someplace to be, I would love to hear more.
Well, sounds like you two got along pretty well, so if you're ever in town again, just drop in.
I definitely will. It was a pleasure to meet both of you. Thank you so much for your hospitality.
You're very welcome, and you have a safe ride back to New York.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And you, see yourself out. See yourself out. And so begins your additional late night train ride back to New York, which I will say that I think that Sybil probably had like a note left at the plaza being like, I went to Arkham, I'll be back tonight. Like, which James, you would have like gotten back to the hotel and then like found that.
And thus would have waited at the station.
Out at Grand Central. So yes, Sybil, when you get back at like 1, 2 in the morning almost, pretty late, James is there, dog tired, waiting for you.
Oh my god, I have so much information about cults, and there's a weird recording. The recording's messed up, but there was a lot of information. These people beat people to death with like bats, but also there were bat teeth in them, and the bat teeth drive people insane. It's so fucked up.
Sybil?
Yes?
It's nearly 2 in the morning. Let's get back to the hotel.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, so you're able to go back to the hotel. Unless there's any other comments, that sums up the day.
Seems good.
Cool.
When I was walking back,
yes,
was I being followed?
So tomorrow, no,
There is actually like one thing. There is one thing that I thought about like directly after we cut away from me, and I was gonna see about it.
Yeah, what's up?
But I was gonna see if I could get like a singular contact of like one of the gangs in town.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
Because if anybody knows anything about the crime going on in a town, it's the people doing the crime.
I will say, let me think. What do I want to have you roll for this?
What do you want to have me roll for this?
Actually, you know what? Here's what I'll say for now. Because gang contacts would be hard to get in the same day today. But you can definitely start like looking into those things. I'll say that while you don't make any gang contacts, you can certainly make a bit of a, if you want to make either, actually no, here's what I'll say. You can make either a fast talk, or persuade roll to kind of find, to get in with some people who might know something.
Fast talk it is. Let's go, boys.
Okay, so you're gonna use fast talk? Okay, so there's through like quick talking and diversions and a little bit of deceit, you can kind of get your way around here. With a hard sickness, okay, here's what I'll tell you. Yeah, you definitely, James can dig up some like lower level criminals who, what are you looking to get from these contacts?
Basically, like, even if it's meet up the next day kind of things, like,
sure,
what they would know about everybody else going like the way that I see it, if a gang's in a hot spot in a city where there's a lot of other shit going on, they have to be aware of what else is going on.
Okay.
So,
well, I mean, like
maybe if this is like connected to a gang thing, they would be able to know. This is James's perspective.
Okay. Here's what I'll say on that.
Okay.
Do you specify an area? Because there are a lot of gangs in New York. Like, for information.
I would specify that it happened at Chelsea. So, in that area.
Okay. I mean, they give you lists of various gangs, but none of them, like, who, like, you know, mess around that region with the various different, like, that they're aware of for various different endeavors. But none of them really tip you off or give you the impression that they're worth looking into.
Well, it was worth a shot.
Sure, cool. All right, so then, and Jordan, you are not being followed.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Gotta keep you sweating.
Yeah, is that going from my spot hidden check before, or are you just telling me that I'm not?
You rolled an extreme success, so I am gonna give that to you in summary for your entire excursion.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This
All right,
just
so
Anxious Mason, it's Anxious Moon too.
So, with that in mind, everybody can go to bed. All right, it is the next day, which is a sad affair. Today is, everyone wakes up this morning on the 17th of January, knowing that today is going to bring some trials. One by one, everyone wakes up, given the circumstances, dresses in black if they have it. And make your way out of Manhattan into Brooklyn to Cypress Hills Cemetery, where you will be attending the funeral of Jackson Elias. The funeral's at 2 p.m., so, you know, you sleep in. I'm sure that Sybil rigorously catches everyone up on what she learned while she made her quick whirlwind trip to Arkham. For my players' convenience, I put the entire audio file in the clues chat, so you can listen to it whenever you want.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. All other information, unless you want to keep it withheld, is also shared. But yeah, so at 2 p.m., you know, was when everyone kind of shuffles their way to Cypress Hill Cemetery, where Jackson will be having a brief and non-denominational funeral. Because it is, you know, there's like a light snowfall outside, a snow shower, and the ground is, you know, frozen and cold. Jackson is not being buried; he's being interred in a mausoleum. And when you guys get there, yeah, there's a little chapel on site where the funeral is being held. Right away, attendance is extremely small. In addition to you guys, the only other people in attendance are 3 others and the priest. There are also various reporters here at the funeral, but they're keeping a respectful distance right now. They're not like approaching any of you. When everyone shows up, the 3 other people aside from the priest who are here, there's 2 men and then 1 young woman. One of the men is a small, wiry African-American man, very clearly filled with some like nervous energy. He has an expensive bespoke suit that he's wearing. It kind of looks a little shiny and frayed. While he's clearly going bald, he has tried to mask this by pasting strands of very well-oiled hair across his crown. Next to him is a young African-American woman, tall and athletic, probably no older than 20, wearing a tailored skirt and jacket. And next to them is a short, squat white man with kind of like a balding pate that is framed by these uncontrollable curls of graying red hair, with pince-nez glasses and an immaculate suit that is tailored to, you know, flatter his more bulbous frame. There is an immediately perceptible air of aftershave that wafts off of him. Sybil and Mason, you two recognize this latter gentleman as Jonah Kensington, Jackson's publisher. who you two have definitely met before. Which you see that those are the only 3 here. They kind of see you enter. Jonah's, there is a somber air to all of them. Jonah is very clearly taking it the hardest. He's like visibly holding back a lot. And he's actually the first to approach the group, immediately walks up to you guys, Sybil and Mason, shakes your hands first, and says, Miss Cordova, Mason, it's good to see you again. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, of course.
I'm not sure if I've kind of like turns his attention to the others with you. Not sure if I've introduced myself to your other compatriots, but trust me, even if we haven't met yet, I know you all very well just by sheer reputation for what Jackson's told me. He kind of like looks at each of you and says, James, Kit, Sunil, I heard a lot about you. Heard a lot about you. Some of the wildest stories, that's for sure.
It's very, very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Sorry it couldn't be under better circumstances.
I just can't believe it.
None of us can.
Sorry, where's my man? There's kind of like steps off to the side and points at the 2 next to him. He gestures first at the African American man and says, please, then he steps forward and says, Carlton Ramsey, pleasure to make your acquaintance. I was Jackson's attorney. And this is my niece, Willa. And the younger woman kind of like steps forward, somberly shakes everyone's head, says, Willa Sly. Nice to meet you, Willa Sly. And, Carlton says, it's just, his eyes kind of like flick around a lot. It's a terrible, terrible affair here today. Well, I suppose we should just get right to it then. I believe the priest wanted to make some opening remarks, and Jonah wanted to say a few things. Thank you all so very much for coming. He kind of like straightens his like suit and tie. If it's before we cut to the proceedings, of course, can we schedule some time to go over the reading of Jackson's will? You 5 are the only ones named in his will. Monday at my offices. Does that work?
Of course, yes.
Yes. Yeah, he kind of like counts you all. Yes, you 5 are the only ones named in his will.
He didn't have any family?
No, Jackson was an orphan out of Connecticut. He had no family. Very much a self-made man. You see Jonah kind of like nods and says, that he was, from beginning to end.
He seemed like the sort.
The priest kind of like gestures for everyone to sit down. And Carlton says, we can talk later, of course. And Jonah says, and of course, if any of you want to stand up and say anything after I give my speech, you're welcome to. Of
course.
Everyone kind of sits down. The priest kind of like stands up. He says, thank you all for being here. This is a somber affair, but I would like to open with a few remarks. He kind of like steps up, opens like a little Bible, leafs through its pages, and like finds one, and he clears his throat. Just how long wilt thou forget me, O Lord? Forever? How long wilt thou hide thy face from me? How long shall I take counsel in my soul, having sorrow in my heart daily? How long shall mine enemy be exalted over me? Consider and hear me, O Lord my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest mine enemy say, I have prevailed against him, and those that trouble me rejoice when I am moved. but I have trusted in thy mercy. My heart shall rejoice in thy salvation. I will sing unto the Lord, because he hath dealt bountifully with me. Kind of like delicately closes the Bible, sits down, like lowers his head and kind of gathers his thoughts. We are gathered here today to celebrate the life and mourn the loss of Jackson Elias. Mr. Elias was a man of kindness, ambition, and undying curiosity for the intricacies of the world around him. By God's grace, Jackson was a man blessed with a heart that yearned to see all things in their entirety. His wanderlust carried him from place to place. His tongue tasted of many exotic foods and libations. His mind sharpened to a razor wit that cut through the darkness, and a heart and soul fulfilled by each and every individual that crossed his path. He gave generously, for it was the nature of his spirit to be generous. The ever-expanding path before him was walked by others, all of whom Jackson met with an easy smile and quickness to friendship. It is hard-pressed to find a man or woman that Jackson did not, at least initially, greet with friendship. It came as natural to him as breathing. Second only to these beliefs as a writer and explorer was Jackson's dedication to the triumph of truth and civilization over falsehood and barbarism. While those attending here where he shall be laid to rest may be few in number, take solace that this is a sign that exemplifies Jackson Elias's nature as a man of no fixed home. He has left his mark in all places he has walked, and on the hearts and minds of all he met. Truly, only the world itself is a large or fine enough cathedral to contain all those who mourn his passing. And he takes a moment, and he begins to, he ends his comments by singing a hymn, a cappella, which I will not be singing here on stream because I am not a choir person. However, I will read it on stream. He says, "Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sad farewell when I at last embark. For though from time and place the flood may bear me far, I hope to see my pilot's face when I have crossed the bar." And the priest kind of like steps down after giving his comments. Jonah steps up. Thank you all for being here, all of you. And I thank you, Reverend Odell, for that moving speech. Elias might not have spent much time in church, but I'm sure he would have been honored to hear that in front of a congregation. Funny enough, for a man who makes his living in written word, I'm awfully coming up short for this one. Jackson Elias is the best man I knew. It feels funny saying that word. Knew? Past tense. He very clearly is holding back a lot of tears. Elias and I got our start at the New York Observer together. We were copy boys back then, just starting out. There have been a number of times in the decades I've known him that he's saved my ass. More times than I can count. In more ways to boot. He always wanted the truth, never fearing the consequences of his looking. The journey is better than the destination, he'd tell me. He meant that. He believed in that. I just can't believe he's gone. I can't. Honestly speaking, I'm expecting to receive a telegram from Elias in heaven, asking for money to cover his expenses up there, promising me interviews with the evangelicals, and then exclusive with Satan, time permitting. Sorry, that's all I got. Thank you. And Jonah steps down. The priest says, "If there's anyone else who'd like to say a few words about Jackson, even a memory or two, you're more than welcome to stand up now and say your piece."
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, also go ahead, Sunil.
Sunil,
He nods his head a little bit and then he walks up. And he doesn't exactly know how to begin because this feels like a weird place to be, but he felt the need to say something. I will admit that Jackson Elias was a man on the wind. He wasn't the greatest to keep, he wasn't the easiest to keep track of at any time, but I always think back to when I met him. Honestly speaking, I think had he not perchance walked by my train car at any given time and just asked me if I wanted a drink, I would not be anywhere near where I am today. And that's saying something. I believe at some point we connected with this man very quickly and very surely, and to the extent where we wanted to save him, and we got to the point where we thought we would be saving him, and by God, in true Jackson Elias fashion, he ended up saving us, it feels. I cannot say that I ever truly knew Jackson Elias, but I can say that it's been better with him here. And I'd like to thank him one final time, so permitting. Thank you, Jackson Elias, for bringing me where I am today. And then he bows his head, and he steps down.
James, did you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go up. James approaches the stand a little cautiously.
Mm-hmm.
But he gets up. I didn't know Jackson very long, nor very well. But I can honestly say that I was hoping and still wish that I could have. And in the very, very short time that I've known him, he introduced me to everyone here. He brought smiles and joy everywhere he went, and every time he showed up, it was like everything got brighter. And now everywhere is a little darker. But in his name, I suppose it's our time to bring the light. Like Sunil so elegantly put it, I'm not the most poetic guy myself. Thank you, Jackson Elias, for being there and for making this world brighter. The world's a worse place without you. And I can guarantee to everyone here, we'll find out. And we'll make whoever did this pay. And, James is gonna leave the stand.
The priest kind of says, "Is there anyone else who'd like to give a few words?" Kind of reads the crowd. He gestures to you, Sybil.
Puts her tiny hand up, and then she walks on up, stands in front of the pulpit. It's a little short for it, but you know, she's doing her best.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson was a believer. That is one of the most important things we can be in this world. And we're gonna keep doing that. So thank you, Jackson. Thank you. she gets down.
Mm-hmm. Runs over to James, yeah. The priest kind of like looks around, sees if anyone else wants to go. sees that no one else gets up, nods, beautiful words. And the proceedings can come from there. You know, Jackson is interred in a spot in the mausoleum. All of you watch, the few of you. You know, as the ceremony itself winds to an end, you guys have a moment of respite with, you know, everyone standing around just kind of like saying words to, you know, Jonah and Carlton and Willa. You know, Carlton saying, well, I think Will and I should best get out of here before the reporters descend. Please, Monday, does that work? Monday afternoon for the reading of Jackson's will?
Yes.
Monday afternoon.
Of course.
Got it.
Yes,
It was nice to meet you.
Likewise, of course. I've heard you're staying at the plaza. I'll drop all the pertinent information for where you can find my offices at the concierge. Good day to all of you. Jonah, wonderful seeing you. Jonah says, likewise to you, Carlton. And Jonah looks at you all. Now the reporters are starting to inch in. Jonah says, well, thank you all for being here. I was talking with Reverend Odell. We're gonna bury Jackson in March after the thaw. Jackson always liked March. That feels like it'll be good. But
if you need any help,
of course. And please, don't be a stranger. Come by Prospero House anytime. I'd love to, if nothing else, shoot the shit about Jackson. All the... He left.
You a man of the drink?
Naturally, but we'll save that for another time, of course. I gotta get back to Prospero. Feel free to drop in whenever. Jackson left a mess of documents at my place. Truth be told, I'm not sure what to do with them.
We'll be there.
We'll be there.
He nods.
And hey, it was good to see you again. And Mason kind of brings his arms out a little bit to like invite a hug.
Jonah accepts it enthusiastically, gives you a big squeeze hug. The smell of his aftershave is so cloying at this close like proximity, but big hug. Well,
Mason has smelled worse.
Yes. You guys get on well. And then it's the reporters kind of like filter in. They've kept a respectful distance, and they mostly come in to ask questions about like any information about Jackson's death. You know, like, was this related to one of his cases? Is it true that he was planning an expedition to Antarctica? All of these things, and then they kind of like try to like get in. One reporter in particular kind of weasels, like sidesteps and maneuvers all of the other reporters, and actually kind of like slides up to you, Sybil, to first approach you. Uprising, would you like to join us and introduce your character?
Yes. She approaches Sybil and she's like, hey, Tan Klanim, really biggest condolences to you. Hey, sucks. That terrible thing that just happened. Funeral. But I have some questions if you don't mind.
Who's asking?
Yes, of course. Rebecca Schoenberg. I'm a reporter for the New York Times.
You immediately remember that the article you read in the Times about Jackson's death was written by Rebecca Schoenberg.
I do remember that, yes. Yes, you're the one that wrote the article.
Yes, deeply invested in this case. Listen, I would love to talk to you and your little posse if you get a chance. Sorry, didn't mean to call them little posse.
No, it's okay. You can call them little posse. We also go by disaster gang. It's it's fine.
Great. If I could just get you and your little posse to get a sidebar with me, I would love that. Actually, if we could get that right now, I'd love that even more. I'd just love to talk to you about Jackson Elias. Get this all settled out.
You know what?
You
Normally,
can pay attention for me.
Xander, am I seeing this happen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna go ahead and walk up, just like hands on
normally
her
Sybil would
shoulders.
be very excited, but right now she's just like,
Just gonna walk up behind her, hands on shoulders, like we said, all the other reporters. Not right now.
Listen, I get it. It's a tough time. I understand. But if he was murdered, this is tough. This is a really tough situation. We can't just let this slide. I really gotta know if you guys know anything about it.
Listen. How's about this? Since you are so very invested in this particular case.
That I am.
And maybe you have some information that we need, but we can't speak right now. Can we please any other time, just not right now?
Well, you could show up my office if you want to, but I just need to know before you do that. So do you actually know? You do know he was murdered. You do know. You know.
Yes, we were fucking
Yes,
there.
we know he was fucking murdered.
Okay.
With the forehead.
Yes,
and the,
yes, I do know the thing where he got scratched in the
Sybil.
face. Yes, we know he
Miss
was fucking murdered.
Miss
Sweetheart, come here.
Schoenberg, call
Come
on
here.
us at the plaza. All right. Give us
All right.
some time.
I don't need to call at you at the plaza. Actually, you can just go meet me in my office at West 43rd Street, okay?
West 43rd. Got
West
it.
43rd.
Kit just gives her the most withering look possible and sort of turns his back.
Great, you
Yeah,
seem like
James
great
is like
people.
already dragging off Sybil.
Great people. Love this energy. Listen, I just need I just would love to hear from you guys. Okay, great. Great. You're walking away. Awesome.
Just a side note, because I've dealt with reporters before.
Uh-huh.
Give them at least a fucking hour. Fucking vultures. And Mason turns and walks away.
We don't have time for an hour. There's multiple people died. You know,
He's walking away.
I'm glad at least one person said vultures during this thing, because the moment I heard reporters, I was just like, Sunil's thinking, back, you fucking vultures.
Yes. Yes, Mason.
time!
That was fucking iconic,
That
dude.
was iconic. I love that. Well,
Fucking vulture.
the five that you wanted to question so much, Miss Oceanberg, leaving you in the dust only with the hope that they'll come visit your offices, and the rest of you leaving behind Cypress Hills, where you've just now buried your good friend Jackson Elias. We're gonna go to a break. So we'll be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere, and stay tuned.
Whispers of Immortality by T.S. Eliot. Webster was much possessed by death, and saw the skull beneath the skin, and breastless creatures underground leaned backward with a lipless grin. Daffodil bulbs instead of balls stared from the sockets of the eyes. He knew that thought clings round dead limbs, tightening its lusts and luxuries. Donne, I suppose, was such another, who found no substitute for sense, to seize and clutch and penetrate, expert beyond experience. He knew the anguish of the marrow, the ague of the skeleton. No contact possible to flesh allayed the fever of the bone. Grishkin is nice. Her Russian eye is underlined for emphasis. Uncorseted, her friendly bust gives promise of pneumatic bliss. The couched Brazilian jaguar compels the scampering marmoset. With subtle effluence of cat, Grishkin has a maisonette. The sleek Brazilian jaguar does not, in its arboreal gloom, distill so rank a feline smell as Grishkin in a drawing room. And even the abstract entities circumambulate her charm, but our lot crawls between dry ribs to keep our metaphysics warm.
And welcome back, everyone. So, after leaving the funeral of Jackson Elias, the five of you go back to your hotel at the plaza. In a mix of feelings, what would y'all like to immediately do and talk about or whatever? Strategize, plan.
Who wants to come to our room and drink?
Yeah.
I need to take a moment, but I'll be there in a second.
You gonna be all right, Kit?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Thanks.
Sunil flashes a look at Kit, as in like a, do you need to talk with a person, or is it 100% an alone thing?
Kit sort of does like Kit sort of does his little like half shrug type thing and just sort of like go for it, go with them. I'll be fine.
Okay.
So Kit, you go off by yourself to your room. Cool.
Yeah.
Everybody else stays together?
Yeah, I think the rest of us are heading to James and Sybil's room to partake.
Mason, bring some food upstairs.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, easy peasy.
All right. That could have gone better. Oh, sweetheart, I see that look on your face. Come here.
Who the fuck does she think she goddamn is? To fucking march up into a goddamn fucking funeral. She asked about the fucking forehead. Who the fuck does she think she goddamn is?
She's a reporter.
Yeah, and I've dealt with reporters. I've been hounded with reporters. I took down Aphrodite's fucking estate, and I was hounded with reporters. Goddamn senseless. But at least they had some sort of fucking conscience. At least they could wait.
In this moment, like, James, he's not the best with words. He just kind of reaches into his jacket, takes out a pack of smokes, takes one out, hands it over to Mason.
I don't smoke. Thank you. And Mason pushes it. Hurts.
Figured I might as well offer. It's all right. Here.
No, I've let it out. I'm good now. It's fine. I'm no longer upset. And Mason, who is very visibly upset, slumps back into his chair.
Well, your choice, buddy. I'm sorry. Sybil?
Sybil takes the cigarette.
Your turn.
Where did she say her office was?
She said it was at the New York Times. Hold on, let me pull up the exact address for you.
West 43rd Street, I think you said?
Yes, her office is at West 43rd, that's correct.
I'm going to go down to her office and I'm going to kick her ass.
No, she's from the Times. It's every time it's somebody from the Times. They think that because they're from the Times, you know, they're the greatest fucking news place ever. And so, you know, a reporter from the Times. You know, a reporter from the Times knocked on my front fucking door whenever all that shit was going on. They're fucking crazy. The report.
Sybil.
Yes.
You want to ruin this woman, correct?
Yes. Yes, I do.
So, if you kick her ass now, that's potentially not the most you could do. See, I also believe she has something that we want.
Oh yes.
Yes. Information.
Yes,
If you kick her ass now, we don't immediately get the information. Now, how about we just ring her? Now, we are 5 individuals who are very, very good at getting what we want. So, I propose, Sybil, you have connections.
I do.
And you know how people work.
I do. This is true. Yes, I do indeed know how these things work. And if she knows things, I would also like to know those things.
Exactly. And Mason, you are also a very charming man.
We don't need to ruin her or anything.
We don't need to ruin her necessarily. But no. But we do need the information, yes.
Of course. I'm sorry. I let it out. I'm good. I'm thinking rational now. While harsh, she was just doing her job.
Understandable. I still want the information.
No, of course we can get the information, but like,
I'm
we
just
don't
saying.
have to ruin her in the process.
I'm just saying.
There's sort of a Kit sort of knocks on the door before just letting himself in because
Kit heard me.
Why would it be locked?
Welcome to the party, buddy. Welcome
Hello,
to the
kids.
party.
We're going to destroy a reporter.
We're not gonna destroy a reporter.
We're talking about
We're
the
going to speak
possibility
to
of-
a reporter.
Yes.
The kid's eyes flick from like person to person as they talk about exactly what they're gonna do to this fucking reporter, and just
I just want to just specify. James looks very tired.
It's like if I
Understandable.
were to explain to Neil's thought process at this point, he's like, I can't have Sybil going off the deep end before we get this information. If I tell her that we are going to ruin this woman and it gets her to do what she needs to do, he's going to say it.
Okay.
So he is specifying we are going to speak to a reporter, but if we go a little hard on it, Sybil's not going to feel bad. So,
Okay.
So
Here's my question. Are we doing this today?
what time's it?
Probably going on like closer to like 4 o'clock by now in like 4 p.m. Just factoring the time of the funeral and then the travel times and all that.
Well,
Mhm.
how does everyone else feel about that?
Not today. Not.
I could do it today if everyone was feeling up to it. I just want to figure out what happened. And whoever
Sybil.
did it got up really, really fast. So I feel like we don't have a whole lot of time to find them in the first place.
Fair assessment. Sybil? Me and Kid are neutral. You're the deciding factor.
The sooner we can get information, the sooner we can figure out why this happened to our friend. And the sooner I can have a nice chat with the reporter lady who wanted so badly to speak to us so soon. And it would be just such a shame to keep her waiting.
All right. In that very same vein, sweetheart,
Yes.
give me your gun. Hand it over.
No. You should listen to him. Hand him your gun.
Gives him her gun.
I just can't escape the mental image of Sybil Cordova just capping a reporter in the middle of a bustling office. Just like Hitman style, like walks up to the desk and just pop, and then walks out with her Derringer smoking.
The thing
Like
is,
reporter's in the chair. Reporter's like, Miss Cot.
Yeah, just gets hit. Pop.
the thing is, it's Sybil Cordova, so we can't rule it out.
Yeah, we really can't.
Yeah. So
we Kit looks
Miss Cordova.
very Kit looks very concerned and just sort of looks at Sybil and just, Sybil, we really don't need to do this today.
What?
It can wait. We can make her wait. It'll be fine.
I want the information. I want to know.
I get it.
I
If you want to know, we'll go find out.
we waited before. I don't want to wait anymore. So we're gonna go down there and we're gonna talk to that reporter.
All right. We'll go and we'll go and we'll talk to Miss Rebecca.
Okay. Let's go.
And if anything happens, she swung first. We all saw it.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Oh my god!
Nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to
Okay.
happen, but if something were to
So
happen,
help
she
me.
swung
Oh,
first.
we don't want to ruin her, says Mason Allen, who is suggesting that someone would punch her immediately.
I'm not going. And Mason just turns to Sybil motherfucking Cordova Standing right next to him.
I wouldn't want to break your neck.
I'm not talking about me, Sunil.
You two are both incorrigible. Now let's just get this over with.
Let's go. Let's just go.
I don't want to be
Let's go.
All right. Well, with everybody agreeing to do this today, the 5 of you leaving the plaza and going not to Times Square, for which the New York Times has its main offices, going to the side offices at West 43rd, finding your way through the building to the office of one Miss Rebecca Chosenberg, who, yes, we'll just take it from here. So Rebecca, as you're back at your desk after, getting back and sorting through some of your belongings, in pretty short order, sooner than certainly you were expecting, you see the 5 from the funeral show up at your office here in the middle of the reporter's floor. The rest of you coming up to her desk, which you can see is immaculately well organized with things laid out.
Oh, good. Shalom, but goodness, you guys came quickly.
All right, before you even say a goddamn word, we're gonna make this quick. We just want to exchange information. Try, for the love of God, to be respectful.
Good gracious. I'm just not gonna say anything. Yeah, I can see 2 of you very angry, so let's just.
I'm not angry.
Never been
I'm
angry
very
in my life.
interested to speak to you. What?
Oh,
I'm so
honey.
sorry. I forgot. What is your name again? I'm sorry.
Rebecca Chosenberg. Honey, it's on the plate here.
Oh my god!
Me, I'm just...
Sassy little finger tap on the desk plat,
You know how it is. I'm sorry. I'm just mad with grief. Couldn't be bothered to read.
Mad with it happens all the time. It happens all the time. I see it.
Neil has reached
to Sybil, just
Neil has reached his hand out. He's reached it next to her, and he's just if you need a stress ball.
Grab Neil's hand and hold.
Like I said, respectful.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
We can leave at any point in time. You'd lose everything you'd be making.
We can always do this another time.
No. I would love.
No, we're doing.
It's very important to me that we speak today.
Well, you want to light a cigarette? I can.
That sounds lovely.
Great. Feel free to light a cigarette. Sit down. I got a chair too.
Sybil holds up a hand for James to give her one.
He just kind of leans over.
Takes it.
Relax.
Yes, anyway, so you're interested. You're interested in what I have to say, right?
I am.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, I realized when we introduced you, that we didn't actually give a physical description of what Rebecca looks like, even though we can see her art. Why don't you just go ahead and tell us what Rebecca looks like, especially here in the middle of her office space in her element?
Wait, so you did show the art, right?
I did, yes. Just narratively from your end as the player.
What the fuck? I didn't think about this.
It's on you. Fine, I'll describe her.
Describe it.
I'll describe her.
It's for the podcasters.
She's a small, dark-complexioned woman with wavy black hair. There you go.
At first, okay, yeah, sure. At first impression, she made. Should I read this part too?
You're fine. Just move on with the scene. Move on with the scene.
No, what kind of suit is she wearing? Is she wearing a suit or is she wearing a dress? Or is she wearing a suit or is she wearing a dress?
This
She
is
like
what the
heels or
fuck
does she like flats?
She, this is not the fucking 21st century. She has to wear a skirt, you dumbass. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, Rebecca motherfucking Chosenberg fucking.
I see Atlas miming over there saying, well, technically.
Sure,
Just because you can read lips doesn't mean that you should let everyone else know what I'm saying.
I don't have enough brain cells to read lips, so I just kind of assume that you're just watermelon.
Thank you. It's rhubarb.
No, you guys, you simpletons. It's eggs and bacon.
Anyway.
So says the GM.
What the fuck? Okay, anyway.
Anyway, yeah, move on.
Information, please.
Well, what about you? There's a lot of information I know.
All of it.
Well,
Lay
first
down
you
everything
should
that
tell
you
me
can
some,
give
because
us.
I'm not just gonna tell what I know off the top of my head.
You are on very
act
fucking
us,
thin
man.
ice to begin
How
with.
about you ask us those lovely questions that you wanted to ask us earlier?
Great, I'll actually do that then.
All
So, you're friends with him, right? You're good friends with our friend Jackson Elias, yeah?
Correct. He was our friend.
And
I would
you
like
knew
to know
him
that that hour is referring to us five. Did you know him?
No, of course not. I didn't
Then
know
don't
him.
use our.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. So, our good friend Jackson Elias, you knew him. So, what do you know about what happened to him? Did you just read about it, or do you actually know?
Oh my god. We were there. We were
You
the
were
one that
there.
called the fucking police.
You called the
Yes.
police. You called the police.
If I may, Kit just sort of like raises a hand.
Please.
You never talk to police and you never talk to reporters. Just saying.
Well, it appears you are doing both.
Kit just folds his arms and once more gives Rebecca the most withering glare.
Did you not talk to the police at all before talking to us?
Oh, no. I have some information, but no, I want to hear what you have.
How about we make a trade? Since we just told you something, which is that we were there, you tell us something, and we will just go back and forth as that. Is that good with you, ma'am?
Sure, I know that his mutilated corpse was discovered in the room in the Hotel Chelsea in the evening of January 15th. I know that.
Right,
Well,
Yes,
that's not
discovered
something we
by
didn't
us.
know. That's
Yeah,
not something
good,
we didn't
good.
know. So
Discovered
give
by
us
you.
Something, give us something we
don't
didn't know.
Well, I have lots of things that I know. What do you want to know?
All right.
Go down the list.
James has stopped trying to comfort Sybil. He's now getting very angry.
Neil has
No,
put
I
out
know
his
a lot of
other
things.
hand.
Putting a hand on James's shoulder, just kind of gives it a little tap. Mason locks eyes with Rebecca and just kind of sits forward. Just kind of like checking her eyes for a second. Does it seem like she has something going on with her? Is there some sort of ulterior motive past, just being a fucking vulture over a reporter?
Without the use of a... Actually, no, I will have you have a psychology roll for this. Go ahead and make a psychology roll, Mason.
Let's get it.
Nice.
Very nice.
It's all
So here's what,
successes this
here's
time,
what I will
baby.
give you. This campaign's a turning point. Obviously, you're not necessarily vibing with this woman's approach to her questions, but Mason, here's what I'll say that you get from just like the intensity of this woman's questioning. She is somebody who, while bordering on rudeness with some of her questions, seems to be, for reasons you're not entirely certain of yet, deeply invested to the point of like extreme seriousness, the details of this case, because you think that she believes it might have something connection to like a bigger thing that she might know about. You think that she's it's not just her being a vulture. There seems to be something here that is like genuinely like she gives so much of a shit about this situation.
Well, yeah. So Mason leans forward, just kind of like holding the eye contact. Do you believe this has to do with the other murders in Harlem?
I am so glad you asked. I am so glad. What, your name?
Alan.
Alan. Great. So glad you asked, Alan. Actually, I do. You're familiar with them?
We're familiar with them, yes.
He nods. Kind of gives a slow nod, still maintaining the eye contact, still holding it, just kind of still staring.
She is also maintaining the eye contact.
Unbreaking.
So you do know about all the other murders with the forehead things. They're all connected, right? Have you uncovered anything else about this? Because I have some leads. I'm thinking that this might go somewhere, but I need to know if you might have maybe not reported anything to police because you know how police are. So, if you maybe saw someone or anything at the scene, and I think that there's something we can really go off of here.
We told the police everything.
Why would you do that? Okay, well.
Because our fucking friend was murdered.
James, and Mason does, put a hand over James's wrist, just kind of gives it like not like a tug, but just like a it's like the squeeze. It's like a little like
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. It was that.
Which, by the way, I will say that on Rebecca's desk, by the way, looks like various like scrapbooks and folders of news clipping that seem like they're just they've been waiting for you guys here.
Here's what happened. Our friend Jackson Elias told us that he had discovered something big about the Carlisle investigation. He told us to come to visit him in his hotel room in Chelsea at 8 p.m. We arrived. He didn't answer his door. We got a key to check up on him, and when we got in there, he was already gone. His room had been ransacked. We didn't find much. There were some people who made it outside, and they got into a car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Car. I didn't.
It's a real pretty car, too.
It was a real pretty car. Apparently.
Pretty car. Didn't see the people at all. Nothing about them.
They said machetes, whatever you would need to literally tear a person open.
Kid sort of volunteers at this point. He's been fairly silent this entire time, and just I have someone running the plates on the car, at least, so hopefully we'll get some information back about that.
Hey, that's good. And listen, I am very appreciative that you're telling me about all this. I know I'm a little blunt, but listen, this is something important. We gotta get this figured out, So I'll just
continue. I apologize.
No, please.
If I may ask, what so heavily interests you about this?
Well, it's clear that, as your friend Alan said, all these cases, they've got to be connected, don't they? You got the head things.
Even in the case of serial killings, what about this particular one has you so interested?
It's not this particular one.
No. I mean these particular serial killings. I apologize. My wording wasn't exactly the most. What about this case has grasped you, ma'am?
Well, so Alan, let me ask you something. You know about these cases, right?
Been made aware of them. Yeah.
Do you know if they ever found anyone that did them? Do you know about that?
They say they found one guy at the scene. He's currently in Sing Sing getting ready to get fried like an egg.
Yeah, and didn't they say that that's what closed the cases? They said it's case closed. Well, then how did another one just happen, huh?
People suspect that there might be a group of some kind.
I don't think it was him. And also, well, frankly, I really don't think it was him. I've been looking into it. I really don't think it was him.
What makes you think that?
A lot of things. And I also think...
Who do you think it is?
I don't know. Well, if I knew who it was, I wouldn't be talking to you guys, would I?
So what do you know?
So what do I know? Well, let me start with, you probably shouldn't have told the police about all this shit.
They were there at the scene. We were trying to find the people that killed him. Well, were we just supposed to say no comment, turn our heads, and just kind of let the mystery be a fucking mystery?
Well, you told them, look, there's a lot of shit going on with the police, right? In Harlem.
Oh.
They, You know about him.
Elaborate for the non-natives.
Well, then for the non-natives, let me just say, at best, you've got Captain Walter Robson. You familiar? Captain Walter Robson.
Kit, for you, that pings familiarity because Lieutenant Poole mentioned that the case of the Adams murders had been transferred to Captain Robson of Harlem, of Precinct 14, up there.
Yeah, I've heard of him. What about him?
He's been the one keeping track of all this shit. He's been the one that's been supposed to be investigating it, you know. But he's not good at it, for sure. I mean, at best, he's not good at it. He's not smart. He's not good at his job. At worst, he's a corrupt piece of shit that should be thrown into jail. Instead of all these people, he's thrown into jail instead. So, well, I can tell you that.
That he covered up these murders, pinned it on a single guy, and sent him to Sing Sing?
I think he might have. You know, I think he might have. I think he had something to do with it. I think. Listen, I could get into this shit and tell you all night.
We have all the time in the world.
Great, then I hope you're comfortable.
I am.
How many chairs are there in this office? Asking for
there
a
are
friend
exactly 2.
Excellent.
Right, so
I
Mason-
guarantee you Sybil is in the second chair.
Mason
is lighting his third cigarette.
Mason, who is leaning, on the desk. I assumed that there were more chairs, so I assumed that Mason was sitting and leaning forward. Instead of, leaning like a fucking Minecraft person, he's leaning on the desk. leaning forward, like hands up, hands on the table, and kind of like observing, breaking eye contact. Finally, he looks down at the papers. You mind if I take a look at all this?
She nods and stands up, and now she seems to be getting really excited. Yes, oh my god, please.
Yeah,
listen.
So, go ahead, finish off.
Listen, I've been going through this for the whole time. Captain Robson, he's the biggest piece of shit. There's all this shit we can say about this, but you mentioned Adams. I don't think he did it. I think that this piece of shit framed him, put him in jail.
I truly think that some other reporter elsewhere in the room, because it's like one of those open offices, just goes Schausenberg language.
What? I'm talking to the guests. They like it. Don't you like it?
You're just distracting me from my work. Is all.
No, I'm fucking enthralled. It's great.
Issues in your ears, then you can't hear me.
Another reporter just throws his hands up and goes back to his work. But
Go get some drink.
So Mason, since you open up the scrapbooks and the portfolios that Rebecca's laid out here on the desk,
information.
Largely very similar to all the articles you found. This is a much more comprehensive collection of the case, which resonates with the things you already know, which is over the last 2 years, New Yorkers of no discernible connections have been brutally murdered, each with symbols carved into their foreheads. Same deal about how by the third murder, people were connecting them. The only the only thing aside from the symbol that connected them was their visits to Harlem, which again, it's a popular night spot. That neighborhood has a bustling nightlife, so that's not so out of the ordinary. The fact that the first bodies were found in different police precincts means that, just from what you're reading here, that there was little coordination or sharing of information between the various investigations. Even after the entire case was transferred to Captain Walter Robson of the 14th Precinct in Harlem, there wasn't much progress on the case until Hilton Adams was arrested at the scene of the 8th murder.
So, what do you think? Pretty convincing stuff, huh? At least pretty convincing that... Listen, as far as I can tell, Robson ended up heading the investigation due to the fact that most of the later corpses ended up either in Harlem or on its fringes, so that was his area, right? So...
Yeah. The papers also mention kind of very publicly throughout that a local folklorist, Dr. Mordecai Lemming, very vocally pronounced that an African death cult was involved in these murders.
Mason, his eye catches that, has a visible reaction to it, and he looks back up, points down to the name. What do you know about this guy? Just this, or anything else?
Dr. Mordecai Lemming?
Is he a nut? Like, what's his thing? What's his shtick?
Might be a nut. But he might know something too. I know where he lives if you want to talk to him.
Yes.
Sure, that would actually be wonderful. And Mason looks back. This fellow here is talking about cults. And with his eyebrow raised, kind of giving the Jackson's Elias, he's on this shit. It's cults. But, yeah, it gives it like a little nod.
Yeah, I think that Robson was he was bolstered by Dr. Lemming's pronouncements that an African death cult was involved, and I don't know, but any sane investigator would be like, "Cult? You fucking serious?" Sorry, language. No,
how much do you know about Jackson Elias, though?
Well, I'm not. He's not here, is he?
Of course he's not
his
here,
bread and butter was cults.
Well, then this might very well be connected to him. I didn't know that about him, but might very well be connected to him. So, Dr. Mordecai Lemming, you want to get where he lives?
Yeah.
Lives at the Murray Hill Hotel, East 40th Street, Park Avenue. You got it?
Hold on, say that one more time. And Mason takes a little paper and pen and go on. Say it again. Let me write it down.
Murray Hill Hotel. Yeah, Hotel Murray Hill. East 40th Street and Park Avenue.
East 40th Street and Park Avenue. Okay.
Yeah, he's eccentric. He's wealthy. Think it might be a little crazy, but he might have something there, especially if your friend was real involved with cults. So you might want to look into it, all right?
Okay, and Mason tears off a little more piece of the paper, writes down his address to his apartment, and if you find anything, or you need to talk about anything, this is where you can contact me.
Thank you.
Actually,
glad we're on better footing right now. But what? Yes. What do you? Tell me anything.
How about? And Kit sort of has a bit of a sly look on his face. How about we do one better? How would you like to accompany when it comes to questioning and investigating and all that sort of thing?
Well, you want me to come along? What's the deal?
Yeah,
Kit sort of shrugs. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I love what the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. As if I'd even fucking
is looking at Kit.
Kit slowly nods towards Rebecca, but holds one finger up. He's got his arms folded, but he holds one finger up and just sort of a we'll talk later. Give me a sec. Type thing going on. And I figure we've known each other long enough that this scans.
It comes across, but he's not happy about it.
Oh, trust me, Kit is not happy about it either.
God.
When we found Jackson, was the Chelsea in Harlem?
No, the Chelsea was in Chelsea.
Yeah, the Chelsea is in Chelsea.
You can tell I'm not from New York.
I don't know anything about New
York. I play a character from New York.
I lived in Chelsea. Fun fact.
You did live in Chelsea.
I did.
God. Sunil's sitting here thinking because he and Mason were same brain cell a second ago. The moment when Mason was okay, because Sunil was I want to stay in contact with this woman, and then Kit's I want to bring her along, and Sunil's just Sybil's not gonna like that, but
it is an excellent big brain idea.
I hope you're not thinking about leaving. It's only fucking early evening. It's not time to leave yet. Come on.
What other?
Not time to leave yet. What else is there?
I'm not done. Come on, you got me talking. I'm not done talking yet. Come on.
So,
what, you got a question? Please tell me.
You think that this guy who was arrested was a setup, right?
Oh my god, yes. Okay. Well, I already talked about how the Captain Robson set that shit up, right? He's a corrupt guy. But, I mean...
Where's your proof that he set it up?
Well, the thing about that is, listen, if I tell you about him, if I tell you about Hilton Adams, you're thinking, well, why the hell would he be doing this? So, whenever people start disappearing or having these dying from these violent deaths, he started.
So you don't have any proof.
No, I'm describing something right now. Adams, he organized members of the local community to detect the attacks and bring the culprits to justice. He wanted to find these people that were doing these murders. He was like you guys. It's like if one of you guys was arrested and put in Sing Sing prison. All right, that's not right. So, he wanted to bring these culprits to justice. He also served as a sergeant in the Great War with the 369th Infantry Regiment, so he was part of the Harlem Hellfighters.
Oh, no shit.
So you don't have any proof.
Is that proof? That does not sound like proof.
That is not proof. No.
No, it's not proof yet.
It's not proof, but it's a pretty solid sounding alibi and no motive. Why would he do these motives? I mean, these crimes. Damn it, I just said motive.
Come on, Chosenberg. Get your game to... Another reporter calls out across the room. Get your game together, show.
I told you not to listen to me when I'm talking.
I thought your supervisor said you couldn't be looking into this case anymore.
Well, I'm still looking into it because I'm still interested and I still have shit to do.
All right, fuck if I know. And he goes back to his work.
Neil looks at James and he's like, it might not be proof, but we need to take any lead we have. We barely have any information.
Oh, it's a good start. It's a really good.
Listen, everyone who knows Adams, you think I don't have any proof, but everyone who knows him, I've talked to a ton of people who knows him, they say he's innocent. They say he could not have done this. And he's got a wife. So he's on death row and he's got a wife, and just try to imagine that for me. That's a lot of pain. She's very determined. I've talked to her a lot, but she won't tell me much. She spent the past few months trying to find evidence of her husband's innocence, just like I have, but yeah, it's hard to get her to reveal the full extent of what she knows. She's very closeted. She's very close. Definitely doesn't want to talk to vultures like me. You know how it is.
Maybe she'd like to talk to someone who kind of understands what she's going through on a certain extent. And Mason kind of looks to the others, raises eyebrows a bit.
There's a head nod.
Sybil nods.
I think she might. Yeah, I think she might do that. I think that might be helpful.
Right, so let's put everything out on the table right now. So your running theory right now is that the fellow that's currently in Sing Sing is currently, as far as we know, innocent, being framed possibly by a captain of Harlem. Allegedly. By a big name fella in Harlem. What was his name again?
Well, whose name?
The
Police Captain
Robson.
Captain Walter Robson.
Right, Captain Robson.
Captain the 14th Precinct in Harlem. All right, you might want to know that. Might want to write that down if you got a little notepad.
Okay,
we've got it. Thanks.
14th Precinct. I'll lead right now is that the fellow in Sing Sing claims that he didn't do it, and there's a guy ranting about African death cults that have to do with these killings.
Yep. See, it's a very complicated case. You know why I'm so invested in it. And then, they say that it's a close case. It's clearly not a close case.
So the guy in Sing Sing was found at the scene, correct?
Yeah. But you were found at the scene.
Fair.
Well, it's because we found Jackson.
Sure.
Yeah.
What, did he find the bodies? Did they claim that he found the bodies?
What...
Is he claiming that he found the bodies?
Yeah, what's this guy's story?
Listen, all that I know is that he was arrested. Captain Walter Robson was behind the case, and I don't think he did it. I really don't. But if you want,
where he's being held, taking visitors.
I was just about to say, I can get you in contact with him, and I can get you in contact with his wife. So how's that sound?
That does sound good. Yes.
Sounds better than most of the shit you've said so far.
She's
Understandable.
been helpful.
Question from the good old prostitute Mason days.
Yes.
If this guy is a crooked man, would Mason have seen him in Aphrodite's Apostles? The captain.
No, because Aphrodite's was like way like lower Manhattan, so far from Harlem. You've definitely never seen this guy.
But have I heard of him before? Possibly from anybody who knew him, who just let shit slip out.
That's a good... Okay, so because you're phrasing like that, I will ask for a credit rating roll.
Oh, fuck! Oh, no! I don't know shit in this town! Okay, credit rating. Where the fuck is... That's a 15, my guy. I thought the credit rating's about me. Okay, no time like the present. Yeah.
So the name...
I thought not.
Yeah, the name... Ooh, a 98. The name Robson, Walter Robson, Captain of the 14th, never crossed your desk before. I mean, you've been a South Manhattan boy for years, and so anytime you spend up in Harlem, I'll phrase this delicately, part of your job was to not be involved with police who weren't on the payroll. So the fact that this guy's name does not sound familiar means two things. One, wasn't on Aphrodite's payroll. Two, you probably never would have encountered him then because you never got involved with cops.
Never got involved with the cops. Fuck the cops. Fuck the reporters. Fuck that guy because he paid. No, for sure. Okay, yeah, Mason scratches his recently scruffy chin and just... I got nothing on the guy. Fucking...
Well, got anything else for us?
No, honestly, as long as you can dig up anything that can either prove Robson's corrupt, which I very truly believe he is, or if you can find anything about the real culprit, get Adam out of jail, it's great. I'll take it.
Well, we can get sort of like shrugs. We can look into Robson. I have a few contacts. We'll see.
Yeah. And I know that Mason and I are both good with people. I'm sure one of us could talk to his wife. If not both of us.
I could.
For maximum charm.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna need the charm. I don't know why, but she just didn't want to talk to me. Weird.
I can't imagine why.
So weird, People always tell me, you're just the worst person to talk to, Rebecca. Why don't you just shut up and go away? Actually, I think that might have been her.
Maybe sometimes you ask the right questions.
At least you're honest.
That's important. Mm-hmm. Mason says, making the eye contact again.
God, Rebecca is so iconic.
I fucking love Rebecca, dude. What the fuck?
I love her
She's so great.
Match between Deborah and Rebecca, please.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's like, I feel like they're distant cousins.
Deborah Barrow's attorney at law, and
Deborah
Rebecca Schoenberg, a reporter.
Debecca.
It's
Debecca.
We
need to get them in the same room. The feisty Catholic attorney and the feisty Jewish reporter.
I don't know if that can. I think the world might explode.
I think I'm gonna be real. I feel like Rebecca would get her ass kicked.
I mean, yeah, no one
Nothing
can beat
stand up to
Deborah.
Deborah.
So wait,
Deborah Barrow's attorney at law is a seasoned 56-year-old attorney who could whoop anybody's ass without a second thought. And
I think real quick, just for uprising's sake, because Deborah Barrows is Sybil's attorney. This was a character mentioned in our last few games. I describe Deborah Barrows, attorney at law, as John Mulaney in a wig.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
You get ruined.
I think no one can stand up to that.
Yeah.
I think no one has.
No one can.
Yeah. And she's Roman Catholic. She is.
She is the most iconic bitch to ever exist.
She will kill you and then kill you again.
I want you to know, I personally, as a player, know that Deborah Barrows is a fictional character, but I still hesitated to call her a bitch.
Valid. So, with yes, back to the
Yes.
Sadil looks around the room, looks at Kit, James, Sybil, like does like a little lean to check in on her real quick before like his eyes move on. I see. Looks at Mason. He's like, well, Miss Rebecca, yes. If there's no other business that we have here, and he walks over to shake her hand, he's like, we will keep in touch.
Oh my, well, pleasure's all mine. Seriously, keep in touch. Let me know. If you want me to go with you to talk to the Death Cult guy, let me know. I'll go with you.
We will keep you in the know.
Thank you. She shakes their hands if they want to. Like, she offers her hand to each of them.
Mason shakes her hand.
Sunil shakes her hand.
Sybil takes her hand and shakes it.
Yeah,
Shake
Kit
her
does
hand.
too.
Polite.
We're coming to an understanding. That's good.
I don't know about that.
I'm coming to an understanding.
I'm
gonna let you all go to the understanding. I'm kind of still mad.
We both have things the other one wants. At the very least, it's a business relationship.
I'm still in the room.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me know when we're.
I said it in
I was
Neil's voice,
talking
but I'm
as the
thinking it.
player.
I said it into Neil's voice, but I'm saying it myself.
I was talking as the player.
I was also
Let me know when
talking
we
as the
do
player.
leave, though.
I was also talking as the player.
Let me know when we do leave, though, because I have things to say.
I gotta go get my orange juice. You know, it's good for the skin, good for the eyes. I don't actually know if it's good for the eyes, but you know, I recommend it. Good at vitamin C.
Good to know.
Miss Schoenberg. We appreciate your information.
At least someone calls me by my last name. You know how hard
I forgot your last name and I couldn't say it.
You know how hard it is to become a freaking reporter if you're feisty Jew around here. Jesus.
Well,
I'm so glad I cast the feisty Jew of IR as a feisty Jew.
Kind of a quiet right now.
No, I love it. It's
My
great.
senses are tingling. He was trying to speak.
Yes.
Oh, we'll keep in touch, Miss Schoenberg, and we're staying at the plaza, and we'll let you know when we go out to interview people. I'm sure we will need your. Kid sort of like shrugs a bit. We'll need your expertise. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, you could just say my
Your what?
My bluntness, my if you will.
Your
Yes.
expertise.
My expertise. Now go have a nice night without me. Go get the
Her
cake or
chutzpah.
whatever.
Yeah,
don't you
I'm
got
sure
some
it will
orange
be
juice that you
very
can go get?
pleasant.
I don't know. I'm getting my orange juice once you get out of here. It's in the fridge.
Damn, I really wanted her to stand up and walk away so I could do something. Really
I like the idea that like that one reporter who kept interrupting us was just like just keeping quiet because he accidentally drank her orange juice.
Pointedly got up and walked away as soon as she mentioned the orange juice.
And she like sees him. She's like, actually, I'm gonna need you guys to leave. I think I've got a problem on my hands, so I'm gonna.
Thank you.
Right. Are you talking about that guy? And Mason.
I'm talking about
Mason
that guy.
points.
I'm talking about
Does
that
she-
guy.
does she look
The
over in that
guy
direction?
like double
Yeah,
takes
she
over
looks
it, double takes over his shoulder, and goes, shit, and just like runs down a hallway.
He doesn't
Okay.
respect me. He doesn't respect me at all. You guys I gotta take care of him.
When she looks away, Mason just kind of takes a quick finger and just tips her little, little like name thing just like on its head so that her name's just covered. Are you talking about that guy? Yeah, that guy right there. Click. just pips the name. Like that'll teach you to fucking.
That'll teach you.
Cordova. That'll teach you.
Cool. So you guys peel out from there for now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, cool. Excellent. Leaving Rebecca to ruthlessly destroy a man's career for drinking her OJ. Even though vitamin C was not discovered until the 30s, she knew.
didn't know about
She's
it.
got
I
a finger on the pulse.
She just felt better.
Finger on the pulp. Okay.
Finger on the pulp. And that's Call of Cthulhu. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. No.
Oh fuck.
So following your office rendezvous with Rebecca Schoenberg at the Times, do you guys go back to the plaza immediately to reconvene for the evening and figure out your next steps?
Yes, I think so. Unless anyone has
Cool.
any objections.
I mean, I don't have any objections. It's not gonna happen when we're at the plaza. It's gonna happen the second we leave the room. James is just gonna look over at Kit.
I mean, we can add a character. We can hang back and talk right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fine.
obviously.
Well, I figured it'd be just like on the walk. Like
Yeah.
it can involve everybody. It can involve everybody. I don't care. But he's just gonna look over at Kit. So, you're smarter than me. I will admit that, but I'm gonna need an explanation.
She is. She's useful, James. She's useful. Trust me, I am more than on your side when it comes to
Kit,
this.
I trust you more than most fucking people. I just want a good reason.
She's trying to save an innocent man from death row. Someone who might have this pinned on him. If he gets put to death, that's one more death on this cult's hands. Honestly.
Yeah, but do we really need her with us? We could just tell her the information. We could give her the information. Do we need her right there at every fucking point in time, belittling every fucking thing we say? Sorry.
Kit raises a hand. Mason, you make a good point, but that is not the reason that I was going for. She has things and she has connections that we do not. I admittedly have some inside information, but it's not nearly enough to get to where we're going. She's been researching this for months at this point. She doesn't have to be there every step of the way. We only invited her.
She didn't even fucking know we were at the scene. She didn't even talk to the goddamn police. How do we know she has these kinds of connections?
She wrote the article.
She wrote the article. She had all that research that Mason saw, right?
She did. She's been looking into this for a long fucking time. I feel like we solved one thing that puts us on a path to what we need to do. And that's figuring out who the fuck did this to Jackson. So I'm sorry that she's acting like a bit of a bitch, but we're gonna have to swallow it and just take it. Okay?
She wants to know things the same as we do. She's just not as good at the peopling.
All right.
So we'll do the peopling.
All right. Sorry.
No. Sybil reaches up and like pats his face, like it's okay. It's okay.
He just grabs her hand, brings it down, holds it as they walk.
We're gonna figure out what happened.
Yeah.
And we're gonna make those motherfuckers pay. Yeah?
Goddamn right we are.
Yeah.
She's useful. Alright. That's it.
All right.
That's everything. That's the reason she's useful. That's it.
All right.
And who knows? Maybe we need a little bit of humor right now, right? And Mason kind of flashes a smile. It's weak, but
I
flashes
think
a smile
that
anyway.
is just about the funniest thing I've fucking heard all day. I will make a personal request. Next time you all have to fucking deal with her, please, for the love of God, send me on some kind of wild goose chase.
We will keep that in mind.
You've got it.
It's a big city full of geese. I'll come with you.
we can get it sorted without you two.
Yeah. Besides, someone has to talk to that man's wife without the vulture in the room. So
The more we can get done at once, the better.
So let's say tomorrow we'll split up.
Mm-hmm.
One group goes to talk to the wife. The other group goes to talk with the nut, and we'll see where it goes.
Someone needs to talk to the man who's on death row as well. There are 3 people we need to talk to.
Okay. I'll talk with the loony who talks about the cult and whatnot.
I'll talk to the wife. So since that means I can avoid
Just quick point of order. Yeah, Rebecca will need to like schedule those meetings for you. So you'll want to drop a line with her saying like, we want to meet with Hilton Adams' wife. We want to meet Hilton Adams. You know, just so presumably you guys drop the line with her so she can begin the requisite process of making sure that she can schedule meetings, which might not be all on the same day. Just it's up in the air. It's up in the air. Yeah.
Yep.
When we get more information, we'll know how to split.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see today as a sad one because of the funeral, but whether we like her or not, we've at least gained an asset. We've at least found a lead. Several of them gotten information. I will take that as a net gain, and we are a little bit closer to figuring out what is going on. That is the takeaway.
We gotta remember, she is doing this for good reasons. Not for a paycheck, but to save a person.
Not for a paycheck. Unsavory.
Kid just rolls his eyes.
No, I get it. I know shitty reporters, and she's excitable, but she's ultimately trying to do the right thing, like us. Okay?
Yeah. You're right. Sorry,
No, it's okay. Most reporters don't care about the result. They care about being paid. She's putting a lot of attention into this. I mean, what do you figure? A long time closed case and a guy on Sing Sing. Why would it matter to her if it's not for trying to save his life?
That's very it's a very noble way of looking at it.
I'm just trying to think optimistic right now.
No.
I know.
Thank you, Mason.
Because we need it.
We do.
Okay, well
It's late.
I'm tired as shit.
Yeah,
So
me too. You know what? We should get food or something. It's late. We should.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get.
Let's get some dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find something nice, something that Jackson would have liked.
So by saying something Jackson would have liked, you guys find the most appealing hole in the wall place, like in like the middle of like I'm trying to think of what neighborhood because I've been here so many times. Well, given where you are right now, walking back towards the plaza, yeah, you find some like good hole in the wall, like foreign, like food, like shop, like on the very like outskirts of like Midtown. It's some dingy place where you know that Jackson would have really like appreciated and would have enjoyed eating here. You guys have a nice little dinner out. We'll say it's like, I'm trying to think of something extremely obscure. We'll say it's like Ethiopian. Like it's some like Ethiopian joint in the like a hole in the wall on the outskirts of Midtown. By the way, Ethiopian food slaps, you guys. It's so good.
It fucking slaps.
So
I would like to try it.
You would. They don't have utensils in Ethiopian food. They have these like foldable like pieces of like a type of bread they use to pick up the food. It's cool.
It's injera bread.
Thank you.
And Mason also just so happens to have a little bit of stuff on him. Little bottle of something something or another. Doesn't really matter. It's alcohol, so he brought
As
it.
Jackson would like. Yes.
Yes.
As Jackson would like to sneak alcohol into certain areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So after enjoying a nice dinner, everyone makes their way back to the plaza, where Kit, when you guys get back... Jordan, do you have something to say?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record here. You can laugh. Are we being followed?
So it's Kit at the plaza. No,
Eat a fat dick! Are we being followed?
Make a spot hidden check.
Spot hidden check, he says.
No!
You are so...
Not only do I see we're being followed, I smell them from a mile away. Not only that, I've actually bitten into his fucking jugular on instinct.
So not only are you certain that you're not being followed, you're pretty sure that it's out. Like, why would you be being? You kind of rationalize. Okay, we're not in the. I mean, who would be following us right now? We barely know anything. You know, you rationalize. All right, there's nobody. There's definitely nobody following us. And why would they be right now? So, Kit,
breathes a sigh of relief.
Yes.
when everyone's walking back into the plaza late tonight on Saturday the 17th, what catches your eye is like standing off to the side, in like the main lobby near the concierge's desk, hat tucked under an arm, is your father, who like sees you enter and like locks eyes with you.
It just does this little like inhale sort of thing and just sort of he hesitates, and it's enough for basically everyone to notice, and Kit sort of like pipes up as much as Kit can pipe up due to his whole thing. That is I should go speak with give me a second. That's my father.
Sunil reaches out a hand and grabs Kit's hand and squeezes it really quickly and then lets it go.
Kit sort of nods. Yeah, I'll it's if anyone wants to stick around, Kit says. Kit like looks at Mason and looks at Sunil, just sort of like,
I will stay in the lobby.
Yeah, I was about to say, he doesn't exactly wince, but it's kind of obvious that like Mason and Sunil are like the last, not the last, but like definitely not the people that he would want his father to meet, if that makes sense.
Sybil raises a hand and grabs James, her husband.
Yeah, no, I would be Kit looks back at Mason and Sunil and sort of his shoulders slump and sort of, oh, I'm sorry, I'll be right back. Yeah, I'd be.
No, of course.
Sunil nods. He nods. He steps back. He's just kind of like he will be staying like in the lobby, paying attention to what's going on, but he will be trying to be inconspicuous.
Yeah, I'd Kit turns back to Sybil and James. I'd be happy to introduce you. Yeah.
Of course.
Cool. And Mason turns to Sunil. Hey, I think I saw a magazine article on turtles. You want to go and
a magazine article on turtles. You know what?
Yeah.
I know a little bit about turtles.
You know a little bit about turtles?
I know a little bit about turtles.
Oh, well, tell me more about your reptile.
And the two of them walk off, leaving Sybil, James, and Kit. Well, sorry, Kit backed by Sybil and James, I should say, as Kit walks over to his father, Ryan Sullivan. Kind of like regards you, who your father, when you approach, Kit regards you and nods, says, Christopher, and then like looks at Sybil and then James and just kind of like nods and like acknowledgement of you being here. Says,
Kit will introduce them. Sybil Cordova, James O'Connell. You two, this is my father,
Pleasure
Ryan
to meet
Sullivan.
you, Mr. Sullivan. Sybil reaches out a hand to shake.
He like tentatively like reaches out, like shakes like with a firm nod and says, "The pleasure's all mine. For your friends of Christopher, then."
Yes. He's a
Kind
dear
of like
friend of ours.
he like points off in the vague direction like Mason and St. Neil walked off, and just being said, he says, "I take it the other two are with you as well. Not ones for conversation, then." Kind of like nods.
Just
yeah.
nods curtly.
Well,
Yeah.
I take it it's been quite a long day, and you kids are more than a little knickered out. So kind of like gestures over at Kit and says, "I just wanted to stop by. I was actually just leaving a message now with the concierge. Seems I caught you on time. I just wanted to let you know that I have a bit more information on those the plates you told me about this morning."
Oh, yes.
The NYL, he like pulls like his notepad like shit. NYL 7, the 1915 Touring Hudson Roadster, color black. Is that right?
Yes.
I looked into
it.
According to some things that I heard out of Lieutenant Poole's precinct, as well as what I could dig up on my own. Car is registered to a man by the name of Thomas Witherspoon. According to him, it was stolen earlier yesterday morning. He had walked into his usual saloon up in Harlem, and when he came out, his car was missing. He reported it stolen. No one's found his vehicle yet, but from what I understand, the man seems clean. Doesn't seem related to the case.
Kid sort of nods and just thank you for favor and looking into that for us.
Of course. Is there anything else you needed, or at all?
No. It's just sort of a bit of a pause. It's been nice seeing you again.
Your father, kind of like gives a nod. He doesn't meet eye contact, just kind of like looks off like around the rest of the hotel and just says, "That it has been, Christopher. Well, I should be getting back home now. Just got off a rather long day. You have the key to my place, so if you ever want to stop by, don't be a stranger." Kind of like regards Sybil and James and says, "Well, nice meeting any friends of my son. Well, you two folks, you all get on well. Once again," looks at Kit, then regards both Sybil and James, "my condolences about your close friend. And I'm sure swift justice will be done in your friend's name soon enough." And kind of like unsure of what else to say, just kind of like nods and just says, "Well,
yeah,
you folks get on well then."
As Erin and I'll stop by as soon as she gets in.
I'd greatly appreciate that. That would be nice to see the both of you again. And you gonna be going up to Boston, Christopher?
Yeah, I will be. Do you have Kid sort of like looks over to James and Sybil and just sort of lowers his voice a little bit. If you wanted to pass any messages to Mom, I'd be happy to.
Your father half opens his mouth, then closes it, then furrows his brow, then gives like a terse nod and says, "Of course, well, if I have anything to send to your mother, I will of course let you know."
All right. Well, it's been, and Kit sort of nods, and with a look of determination on his face. It's been nice seeing you. I love you, Dad.
Dad kind of like purses his lips, briefly meets eye contact with you, gives a nod, his eyes slip off you, and goes, love you too, kid. Well, I should be heading off now. Gotta turn in for the night, early morning, on patrol. You kids, get some rest, and, well, just nods and lets his sentence hang, and then leaves.
So,
Sybil immediately reaches out and grabs Kit's hand.
Kit takes Sybil's hand, and he just sort of looks off into the middle distance, one would say.
James is gonna wrap an arm around his shoulders.
He doesn't say anything, and he squeezes Sybil's hand, and he sort of it is almost as though it doesn't happen, but Kit very slightly leans against James just a bit, and then leans back, and then he blinks a few times and just thank you. You too.
No problem.
Anytime.
Kit looks back across the lobby and looks towards Sunil and Mason.
Mason has been staring.
Sunil has
over
clocked
this.
him. They were
Like-
he's been looking down at Turtles, back at Kit, down at Turtles, back at Kit. He sees what is going on with Kit, and he's just like he's giving like a slight like leaning signal, like I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna come and
yeah. James kind of looks back at the others and is just kind of like, yeah, come on.
Sunil like
so
doesn't
obvious.
sprint, but he doesn't but he like speed walks over.
And as they come over, James is just kind of like quietly like, yeah, you how about some dinner, Chris?
Kit flinches.
You guys
when
just
say
ate
that.
dinner.
Sunil fucking burns like fucking into your eyes. He hears you say
Why would
Chris.
you say that?
And just Kit just sort of
Normalizing.
he takes a deep breath, and on the exhale his shoulders slump, and just it's fine. Let's get some dinner, and
Some dinner.
Didn't you guys just eat?
Didn't we just
Didn't
eat?
we already just
did we
You guys,
okay,
did.
well,
yeah.
sorry, in
tell
that
you what we
case,
can do.
let's
Some
Drink
We could
though.
drink,
Keep
and
my
Mason
tongue
pulls out
down.
another tiny bottle because he
Oh
has
my
them.
God.
If you
Oh
all
my
would like to
God.
drink and play cards, yes? Cards.
That sounds
I
lovely.
like cards. You know what? Y'all want to play cards? Y'all ever play Omaha?
I have, huh?
Omaha what?
I
There's
know poker.
there's always one guy in a group who says, "You guys ever play shithead?" Like,
Makes sense. It's the shithead.
and then there's the Irishman who goes, "It's pronounced shitheed."
Oh.
Anyway, yes.
I'm sorry, I saw that little hand signal and I lost it.
So yes,
Yeah, let's
the five of
play
you retire up into your rooms at the Plaza Hotel to drink some bootleg liquor, play some cards, and eventually let this day pass you by as another day dawns over the city of New York. And that is where we will end episode 2 of Call of Cthulhu, Masks of Nyarlathotep. We will see you all next week, same place, same time. Until then, Cthulhu Fatagan.